Welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast, where we create space to grow our brand with intention and clarity, one episode at a time. Join us as we explore the many aspects of entrepreneurship, start loving the journey instead of the destination, and begin building a legacy that lasts. Here's your host, Michelle Lewis.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Visibility Vixen. I am so excited for today, not just because we are in Systems Month, which I have been excited about for months, but because my wonderful new friend, Nikki Nash, is on the show. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Michelle. How are you, love?
I'm so good. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. All good things.
So me and Nikki actually met in New York at Mel Farr's Ascend Live event, and she started talking and I fell in love. We have very similar tendencies to work ourselves into the ground, which we are both improving on, but we are just creators, and I knew that she would be such a powerful addition to this show, but I want you to hear a little bit more from her about her story and her background. So Nikki, why don't you throw them in and let them know who you are?
Yeah. So hi, guys. My name is Nikki Nash, and I'm a business coach for female entrepreneurs. So I work specifically with women who are starting their own service-based business. So coaches, consultants, freelancers, things of that nature, and really just work with them on everything from mindset and removing any barriers to success in their way to the systems and the structures that will make a huge difference for their business, down to content. And I have a background in digital marketing. I was in corporate for a long time and spent a little over 10 years working for other companies. And so I'm really passionate about people getting visible, people creating amazing content for their brands, and really attracting their dream clients towards them. So I really support my clients in that.
That's so fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your journey in terms of content creation. How did you figure out that that was kind of your superpower in this industry?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was a journalism major in college, and I've always loved creating content and really wanted to travel the world and write and, be a journalist. And right when I finished college, I did a program at NYU on publishing, magazine publishing, newspapers, books, things like that. And they had both the editorial folks and the marketing and sales people. And I just realized I loved all the marketing people. It just felt like they were my people from a personality standpoint. And so I kind of always had a passion for content creation, and I took that with every marketing job I had. So even when I did events, I would see how we could, make it really scale beyond just the physical event. And then after a couple of years in publishing, I worked at InStyle and Travel and Leisure magazine. And then I worked at an ad agency doing media planning. I really realized, nope, I want to be in the digital game. So I got my MBA and then took a job at Intel and spent 3 years at Intel really just focused on creating content, social media, really scaling everything we did from events and making those connect with people who weren't physically there down to just creating digital experiences for people. So that was super exciting, and worked at a startup too. And with startups, after Intel, I took a startup job, head of marketing. And if anybody has worked at a startup or has a startup, that like scrappy content creation is amazing for business. So I really focused on that there too.
I love that you've done so many things, because sometimes as an online entrepreneur, you can feel like I did this and I did this and I did this, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I've done too many things. Like, what if I fail at this too? But you have to understand that if you're an entrepreneur, it's in your blood that you've had like 10 or 15 past jobs.
So true. And they always add value. Like, you learn something from every experience. And so for me, I used to think something was wrong with me because I kept quitting jobs. And then I realized, no, it's just I haven't found the job that was me living in my zone of genius and me being like really passionate about it. And I really found that as a coach. So I'm like, oh, sweet, a job that I know I'll have for longer than, 2-3 years.
It's true because you can constantly, like, of course, you're amazing at content creation, but a huge part of being an online entrepreneur is constantly creating new things, new trainings, new products, new coaching programs. I find that part to be so addictive about this industry because it can grow and change as you do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I loved, like, I got goosebumps when you said creating a digital experience.
Yes.
And those are such gorgeous keywords that I know that they will be in the show notes later. But in your opinion, a lot of people especially in the Visibility Vixen audience, they're starting out, they're figuring out their branding, what they're offering, what systems to set up and all of that. How would you describe bringing an audience member, a new subscriber, anyone like that, into your specific digital experience?
Yeah. So I say it all really, really starts with you having a crystal clear idea of who your ideal client is and who your audience is, and then really just making them feel at home. And so for me, just knowing who my ideal client is, what I like to do is I like to say, like, hey, here are the amazing ways that you can connect with me. And even if you're like, people learn differently and people like different things, but I like to just make sure that they feel welcome, that they have multiple ways to get information. So if people are, an audio, video, visual learner, they have video. And then if they like to read things first, then I may have, a really detailed section or notes or blog posts so that they can get through that. And so it's really just, I look at creating digital experiences like hosting. So you're just like a great host for your dream client, and you're giving them everything that they need to really succeed. And when you do that, there's obviously different levels. There's things you do for free and things that cost money, but all of it should really be done with the intent of providing an amazing experience for your dream client and making sure that they are getting from where they are now to where they want to be with whatever it is that you're providing them.
I love that, being a good host. I really love hosting. We had like a Christmas breakfast at our place with like 15 people, and I was like in my glory because everything was clean and like the whole buffet was there, and oh, I love that. So it's very similar to what you're doing online. I think that's
exactly. Exactly.
So today, there's so much wisdom that you can offer. And by the way, if you are not in her Facebook group, which I believe is called, correct me, Fempreneur something.
Fempreneur Collective. So
Fempreneur
it's like
Collective.
Female entrepreneur put together as a word, and then collective.
I love that. Okay, and we'll have links to that below. I knew the first word, but I couldn't remember the second. Nikki gives such amazing, actionable live streams, so I highly recommend that you check that out. I learned so much from her, and it's like I'm typing like crazy while she's teaching us, which is fantastic. But so you're so widespread in terms of how I could interview you today, but I want people to be able to leave with an actionable tip that they can implement into their business right away. So let's talk a little bit about your discovery call process. How do you make that happen, and how do you set up the systems behind that?
Yeah, so just in case anybody's not familiar with discovery calls, essentially they're just, I like to also refer to them as like sales calls, or like, but they're essentially allowing your client the opportunity to discover what it would be like to actually work with you and really get a sense of this is what would be made available if you coach with me, if you consult with me, things like that. And then at the end of the call, inviting them to work with you, or in my case, inviting them to work with me. So really taking them from here's where you are now, here's where you want to be, here's how I can help support you in making progress in that pathway. And are you interested in having your dreams come true, or making this a reality, or, how did you feel about working with me? So that's a little bit about the discovery calls, excuse me. And the way that I really like to go about having that work on autopilot, it all starts with giving your ideal client something that they love and really adding value to their lives. So what I found with being online nowadays and having virtual businesses is that you can't go like, oh, I did that one video and you saw it and you liked it, therefore you obviously want to give me thousands of dollars to work with me. It's like it takes
Yeah.
a little bit of something. I think in one of my live streams I explained it to people like, dating, and then you go on like one date and then you ask somebody, will you marry me? And they're like,
Yeah.
what? No. Like,
It's true. That's such a good comparison. But I think
yeah.
it's true when we create content, we're so in love with it and we know ourselves so much that we're like, oh, well, all this information just based on that one training or whatever.
Right. It's like, obviously, I'm a catch off of that one video. So,
So we're breaking it down into the first actionable step being giving
yes.
them a nice little treat of something so they can get a taste of who you are. And now it's time to actually get on the phone with them to be able to see if you're a really good fit to keep dating or working together.
Exactly. So my very first thing that I like to do is I like to give them, some people call them freebies, some people call them lead magnets, but essentially what you do is you create a piece of content that would really just take a person from, where they are now to where they want to be a little bit. And so I do these things in a lot of my videos. For those of you that are watching on the video, you can see it if you're listening. And essentially I have my hand up horizontally. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, like, at one side of my hand is where a person is, and at the other side of my hand is where they want to be. And with the freebie, I get them a part of the way there. So, like, to get all the way to where you want to be, that would require, or I would assert, require you to work with me, because that's what it's going to take. But with the freebie, you take them a little bit of the way. And so for that, I set up what's called a lead magnet. I create things like checklists, free little trainings, something like that. And then I use a system like LeadPages, or if you guys have ConvertKit or anything that will allow you to create a opt-in page where people can say, ooh, I want that freebie in exchange for their email address. And so you're like, oh, okay, like, we can go on a second date. It's almost like, you're interesting enough. I'll give you mine, or not even a second date, a first date. I'll give you my number. It's kind of like that analogy.
Yeah, because
so
it's their email.
It is. It's their email. It's like, I'll give you my number. I'll give you my email. And so it's asking them to do that. And then what I like to do on the thank you page of that, and this is how I start the automation process, is on the thank you page, I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for downloading this guide. Here's a little bit about me. If you're interested in, having a free 30-minute session or a free 25-minute consultation or session with me, I think it would make a huge difference for you, or it may be something you'd really like. Here are some of the things that I talk about in these sessions. And then there's a giant button at the end of the thank you page that's like sign up. And so that's really allows you to have people automatically go from they downloaded a freebie to an initial conversation that's like, ooh, that was so great to get that freebie. And yes, I could totally use a free call, so I'll sign up for it. And so I just connect it to an automatic scheduling system. I use Calendly. All of these have names that I'm like, I can't.
Are hard to say.
I can't even. So Calendly.
Calendly is great.
Calendly is great. I love them. There's Acuity. There's one called ScheduleOne. There's a ton of them out there. And it's really just a way for you to, the reason I like Calendly so much is because the free version allows you to sync with your Google Calendar. So it'll essentially automatically let people know when there's actually availability. So if you have something scheduled, it won't double book you.
Yes, I love that. I love Calendly. So great.
Me too. So that's kind of like the first and second step. The first step being, let me give you this free lead magnet on the lead page or the opt-in page. And the second is, ooh, by the way, do you want to get on this phone call with me? It'd be great. And some people will take you up on that right away on the thank you page. Some people will not. But the beauty is that they've either way given you their email address. And so kind of the third step and the third process I will do here is what's called an email sequence. And so just automatically allowing people to, or allowing your audience to get emails from you. And so if you're using, there are a couple of systems that I recommend to do that. For most people that are starting out, ConvertKit really would be the easiest, simplest tool because it provides you with the opt-in page and the system you need to send out email sequences automatically. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. For those of you that have maybe more complex needs, or you've been in the business for a long time, you could use something like LeadPages, which is what I use, and then for the actual opt-in page, and then for the email system. I use Infusionsoft. There are a ton of systems out there.
Yeah, so many. Active Campaign, and yeah, I started,
Exactly.
I'm sure I was just like you, I can't generalize, but I started with MailChimp and
Yeah.
started doing the different sequences, and then like trying to like put them together. I try to tell my audience, like, I get that you want it to be free. So get it. I was there, but by the time you're ready to like upscale and start doing sequences and all that, it's impossible. So please, like, save yourself the headache and at least start with ConvertKit or Active
Yes.
Campaign to just save you the pain later, like I went through, and I'm sure you went through.
You know what's funny is I had MailChimp for another business briefly, and I was like, I can't do it. So I actually started when I started coaching. I didn't do that again, but I know a lot of people that do it, and I'm with you. I recommend at least like ConvertKit is, I think, like 60 or 70 bucks a month or something like that. I'm not even sure,
Depending on
maybe
your list
less,
size, I think
depending
it's,
on your list size.
if
Yeah,
it's under
maybe
1,000, I think it's 29,
29.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 30 bucks a month. So it's super cheap. Especially if you have a small list, considering, what it gives you, which is that ability to have the opt-in page to automatically send out those email sequences. It's just like, if you grow, it's not a huge pain in the butt. So,
I
I recommend that.
totally
Yeah.
agree. I think it makes it so much easier. So, the process that we're talking about, just to
Yep.
reiterate, is
Yep.
that you're starting with your freebie, whether that's a checklist, an ebook, a video training, whatever it may be, whatever
Yes.
gorgeous thing that you create. And now, what you're trying to do is create a way to capture someone's email in exchange for having this beautiful gift delivered to them, like a mutual benefit exchange. So, that can be through software that's just landing pages, like the software LeadPages, or there are some email responders out there that have their own, that so it just makes it really easy and you're all in one software. So that's similar to ConvertKit, which is what I use. So you can do one or the other or both, but you really want something that can automatically send them that freebie either right away or in the next email. So that way, what Nikki's saying is that once they get that delivered, the thank you page that they're sent to has that little button that's like, hey, let's have a chat together. Let's have a clarity discovery call. So that's how she's able to book these on Autopilot. So once you set this up, what was the difference that you started seeing in your business? Because this is a very like hands-free way to do it. Do you just wake up and you see when you have calls that day?
Yeah, so a couple of things happen. Like, people just schedule calls, which is great. Sometimes they do it straight from the thank you page. Sometimes they do it from the email sequence. So what I like to do is continuously offer opportunities for people to get on the phone with you. And in the sequence, I like, just really quickly, I say maybe do like 3 emails that are just purely giving away amazing content. And then maybe in a couple of them in the PS, put like, PS, by the way, if you'd like to schedule a call with me, like, click here. And then I like to follow it up with 2 emails, like 1 or 2 emails that are purely dedicated to, hey, sign up for this call with me, maybe throw in some testimonials from people that have had either free sessions or have actually worked with me, and really get people going, okay, I have a sense of who you are, and now I want to get on the phone with you. Like, we've kind of gone on a couple of dates with those emails or something like that. Like, I know you a little bit better. So for in terms of results, what I'll see is that there will be days where I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, I have more calls scheduled this week. That's amazing. And so it's really a nice way to just have people book calls with me on Autopilot. Sometimes the offer is for specifically a discovery call. Sometimes it's something else that's free, like a free assessment or a free strategy session. And the reason I do that is because sometimes people don't like to go from lead magnet to you want to talk about working with me. So it's like lead magnet to free session. And then in the thank you email of the free session, they automatically get, hey, do you want to have
Genius.
a discovery call,
I
even
love
though
it.
I will, and I'll probably ask them if they want to do a discovery call in that session as well.
So a lot of people that are watching this understand the process that you're talking about of going from lead magnet to email sequence to thank you page, but maybe they're feeling nervous in terms of what exactly they can offer during this discovery call that can help, benefit both parties. So would that be like workshops or e-courses or a coaching package?
Yeah, so I like to have the discovery call be very intentionally set up. So if you are looking at your product offerings or your portfolios or things that you have, really kind of have whatever it is that you want a person to buy be set as an intention, even for you when they get your lead magnet. So said another way, if you're offering a free course, or not a free course, a paid course on, let's say, passive income, you would want your lead magnet to be along the lines of like something to do with passive income, and then have your email sequence talking about passive income. And then the request say, hey, would you like to hop on the phone with me to discuss how I can support you in making it and creating an amazing passive income product and selling it. And so the call would very much be you listening to what they're dealing with, really getting a sense of what could make a difference for them, and then saying, oh, well, this sounds very much in line with people who have taken my passive income course, my passive income course, and I think it would make a difference for you. Would you like to buy it?
Awesome.
And so you can do it for courses. You can do it. I do it often for either one-on-one clients or group coaching programs. But there's a lot of things that you can use these calls for.
Awesome. Well, that's such a great strategy because what you've pretty much talked about is your lead magnet, your email sequence, your entire funnel pretty much.
Yeah.
So this is a way that you can really start having an income stream if you've been struggling. So take action on what Nikki's talking about, because if you do this like A, B, C, D, E, and you have that intention behind it and you know that this is going to help your ideal client, this is the time to take action and start executing those steps so that you can start booking these discovery calls on autopilot and benefiting from it by being able to confidently pitch whatever package you have at the end. So I love that. So speaking of actionable strategies, let's talk about the amazing freebie that you're offering today.
Yes. So it's funny because passive income came to my head probably because my freebie is around passive income.
Love it.
So I am offering a free passive income mastery workbook and video training that I offer, and typically it's $97, but I love you guys so much, and I love Michelle and her community, so I'd love for you guys to just have it for free and check it out and get a sense of how you can create a passive income product that would make a huge difference for your business, so that you're not only getting discovery calls on autopilot, you're making some money and waking up in the morning and seeing some extra dollars.
This is amazing. The best feeling that I get is when I wake up and I've made a sale. I get so excited and I run around and I dance with my pug Oliver, because that's the dream. Of course you love spending the time on the phone with people, and that's great, but to also be monetizing your time by having what you've created go on autopilot so it can reach more people in a more massive way where you are getting paid throughout the night when you're sleeping is the way to be. So definitely hop into this free training. The link and the descriptions and everything will be below. And I'm excited about that. I'm going to take it. I'm thrilled. That's fantastic. So I think this has been so fantastic, Nikki. Thank you for spending your time with us and giving us this kind of insider tip of how we can make the systems in our business be of better benefit. Definitely stay tuned. We're diving into more trainings on Systems Month, but you can find Nikki and all of her links below. Follow her on everything. She's fantastic. And darling, I'll be talking to you soon because we both know that I'm obsessed with you.
Likewise. And I love you all so much. Have an amazing, amazing day and night, depending on when you listen.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.